This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by Marshwear Clothing, Walton's, Onyx Hunt, Aluma Trailers, Lucky Duck Premium Kennels, and by Hoxie Native Seeds. Today is a big day. We're going to properly celebrate with Hannah the Hunter. You'll hear about her major milestone hunting accomplishments from this past weekend, and we'll break down what it took to get her there. Then Scott Fransen and I will put a bow on our hunting season before we get into your stories, and we have a pile of them. Guys, they're awesome. Stick around. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I am Travis Frank. Big Al is our producer. We appreciate all of you for joining us, and we believe this is our first video podcast. So, Big Al, can you show yourself here? Do you want to show yourself? All right, everyone's wondering.
He's blushing. Look,
there he is.
Kind of blushing.
He's
I know, he's all nervous. He's like, am I going to be on this? Am I going to be in it? I was like, yeah. People...
I have no clue how that's going to look on the camera because I wasn't watching my monitor. But
well, he slaved over our hunt camp. Look at this behind us. It is a beautiful
really
setup.
cool.
This
I
came
like
together
it.
nice. We have to come up with an official name for this. So maybe, Scott, on-air production meeting. It could be called the Onyx Hunt Studios. I'm just saying.
We could do that.
Mhm.
Or the Onyx Hunt Shack.
I like that as well. This is new. We have been doing audio podcasts for 4+ years now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now, thanks to Big Al, we have video.
Well, I think people wanted to see more of you, Trav. So we had to bring the video component out.
This has been a little bit of labor of love.
You just went right over that.
Yep. I'm only going to pick and choose what I respond to because these are some personal items here that we have. We have behind us on our shoulder, Millie and Daisy are Dog Life members of Pheasants Forever. So we have that accomplishment there. I harvested these quail myself. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, those are cool.
So they must have put the tails back on.
Idaho and Arizona. Scott, this tiny rooster is yours?
It is mine, but it's not mine. Actually, that was left here after we did a video shoot with Howard Vincent about 6-7 years ago. And he said, well, you want this? I go, yeah. So I've had it in my office since then.
All right.
Yeah.
And I believe that is the coolest mount maybe that I've ever seen. I just love it. As soon as I saw that we're going to build out this space, I'm like, we got to find a spot for those amazing pintails. I just love that. I love the dead hang on that. And I think Ron harvested those in Louisiana, I think he said.
And one of them, I don't know if you can see it or not, is a banded bird as well.
Did he put the band on it?
What,
did he actually harvest it with a band?
I wonder if he did. I think he did shoot that one with the band. I think that's really, really
I'm
cool.
guessing the dog brought it back and then he raised his hand and he got that one.
That's right.
It wasn't one that he actually got.
Yeah, that's right. I got it.
So this poster here, I can't help but stare at it. And I don't know where it came from, but it looks like it was taken out of a magazine because it's got the old creases in it from where it was folded up.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
And it says, the next time you're touched by the beauty of wildlife, thank a hunter. And it's just a majestic bull elk standing in a mountain scene. And it was a federal ad from, I have no idea how long ago.
I feel like Scott needs to pose with that thing.
Two stud bulls next to one another. Alex? Huh?
Well, I didn't mean it like that. Trying to get out of it.
Another pay raise for you, Big Al.
Oh, my goodness.
Your ego's
These
too
two,
high.
Hannah.
I know.
Al kisses up to your dad like nobody I have ever seen before. And I've been here. We celebrated 15 years together, Scott.
Aw.
15 years.
15 years. And that's why I don't kiss up to him anymore.
But Big Al's gotten Employee of the Month ever since he's been here.
I know, but all he does is Scott's so great. And it's been fun.
I want
It's
to
been
drive with
fun.
you to
I
Pheasant Fest.
got bills to pay, right?
I have 4 kids, Big Al. I got bills to pay. Trust me.
He's got bills to
I got
pay.
bills to
You're
pay.
TV famous.
I have 3
That's
daughters,
different.
so I have even bigger bills.
Well,
to
you're the
pay.
boss, and Travis is TV famous. You know, I'm just fresh out of college. It's different.
Yeah.
Well, people are they're glad you're here. because
me.
you are even included, Al, in a comment today.
Ooh.
It's from your mom. But
it's probably
might
from
have been.
it's probably from one of my friends because I always share it on my Instagram story.
We have a lot to get into today.
We
We're
do.
not going to get through all of it, and that's okay. So welcome to our Hunt Camp studio.
yeah.
If Al pulls it off, this will be a video. This is a trial run. You have audio. Anybody listening right now has audio. They may have video when this is all said and done. And I hope they do, because I asked our followers on social media, I said, what will you remember from this hunting season? And we have a pile of submissions. Included with those submissions, we have quite a few photos. I couldn't figure out how to upload or download their videos, though, that they tagged into it. So we just have photos.
That's
But
more
there's
to come.
if I'm still learning here. I've only been here 15 years. Okay, so hopefully this monitor behind us here, Al has access to all the photos, so he's going to put them up. And we also have photos and maybe video from your weekend, and that's really
This
where
high tech stuff.
I know.
Wow.
It's almost like we're in 2025 and we're a television production company. Almost. Not quite.
Some would think that we produce videos all the time, but
Al, you were wondering about my cleanse. I mentioned it last
Yeah.
week, so let's just get that over with.
want to tell the people how long you were supposed to last?
It's not about that.
Oh, it
It's
kind
not
of
a,
is.
it's
yeah.
not a
Yeah, it
numbers
kinda
thing.
is.
It was never a numbers thing. They suggested you could go 10 days. Why
But
do you-
it was a suggestion. 1 to 10 days, somewhere in that window.
It's
right?
called the Master's Cleanse. And essentially what it is you don't get to eat for 10 days. You survive off of water, lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and you could either do honey or maple syrup. And it's just a small amount. And that sugar from the maple syrup tides you over as the food. And you just drink, and then it kind of pushes things through. So we thought we're going to just go for a while, and it'll be a good reset to just get our bodies and our minds thinking better about the food that we eat. So Whitey and I, one of our coworkers here, he suggested this one, and I was crazy enough to say yes. But as I talked about our mental health in this time of the year, it's important to think about what we're eating. It's important to spend the time outside. We dug into that a little bit last week, and I've had some listeners send personal messages this week since then, just talking about the importance of that. And maybe it's something that we should talk about more, because the outdoor crowd is, we're tough.
Yeah.
We're tough. We don't need
don't
to
talk about stuff.
We don't talk about that stuff.
Unless it's our dogs or our trophy bird,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly. But the reality is daylight hours are shorter this time of the year. A lot of people are spending time inside, and it's healthy for us to be outside. I was not created to spend 10 hours looking at this, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At this computer screen, and neither were you, Hannah. Neither is anybody that's listening right now. So what the cleanse did, I did a 72 hours cleanse on that, but I noticed a drastic difference in just the way I felt.
Better.
Better, way better. I just wanted to choose good food for my body. So this was a jump start to doing so. I haven't eaten anything crap in over a week. But I didn't have, 4 young kids, 2 in hockey, and I maintain our hockey rink, and I like to play with the kids.
Which is a sweet hockey rink. By the
Thanks,
way.
buddy.
I've just
Thank you.
I've been
I
too
know.
scared to come because I don't want to get I don't want to get embarrassed.
You would too. I do every single time I skate. I skated 5 hours on Sunday, and we
my
had one of
gosh.
the hockey teams over, and it was so much fun. But I didn't have the energy without the food to be able to continue to go. I was getting lightheaded, and I decided I've proven that this is a good spot here. So I'm gonna start introducing some of the healthy choices into my diet. And honestly, I think this is a regular thing that I'm going to do, but I haven't eaten anything crap in over a week. And it just, every time I see it, I think, no, I don't need it. And it's just something that maybe it's the master cleanse, maybe it's something else. But
was the 72 hours preordained, or was that when you tapped out and said, I'm okay, plus I'm lightheaded, I better eat something?
Yeah.
this was the second night of playing hockey with my boys, and I I didn't have the energy to put into it what I normally would. And they're like, Dad, what's going on? And I'm like, I
haven't anything to eat in
I
3
haven't
days.
eaten, I haven't eaten in over 3 days. Yeah. I think I technically made it to like 76 hours or something like that, 75 hours. Anyway, but it's great. I feel great. I highly recommend it. And then continuing to stay outside is obviously very important. So enough about me. Let's get back to the main program here. Let's see. Before we get into our listeners and Hannah's story, a couple of things. Scott, you're going to do the Gun Dog Challenge coming up at the Horse and Hunt Club.
I am. Yes, I am.
What is that?
I don't know for sure. It's a competition with you and your dog, and I believe it is a timed event based on how quickly your dog can get the birds up, and you shoot them, they come to hand, and you get points. And then there's a scoring system. If your dog catches the bird, I think that doesn't go against you and brings it to hand. If the bird wild flushes, there's some scoring techniques there, et cetera. And when I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't. So I'm going actually down to Horse and Hunt Club tomorrow to get an official walkthrough and practice, because I've never done this. The division I think I will be competing in is the hunter division, which is less stringent on the rules than some of the other divisions. And I think they have a hunter flusher division and a hunter pointer division, from what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. When you're there, you have to do the cosmic clays.
Oh,
You
I
have
want
to
do that.
You have
Yeah.
to do it. Go in the afternoon, do your training thing in the afternoon, and stay for when the lights go down, the sun sets, and it gets dark.
We've talked about doing that.
Yeah, you guys, it's a great family activity. I did it with my wife and then 3 couples last year. And then we filmed the story for Minnesota Bound.
It's airing this weekend.
It's airing this weekend. Yeah, and I watched it back, and my friends, we still talk about it. The ladies loved it probably more than the husbands.
Well, it's
Really?
heated.
Yep, it's a heated
totally
box.
different.
Yep, it could be 10 below, and it's 70 degrees
Yep.
in the box. It's got the heat set, and it even tells you it's right over your shoulder, 70 degrees. And the clays shooting at night, it's you don't shoot guns at night, so you never had the opportunity to do this until now.
Well,
and it's the only
it's
one
a
in
great way to
Minnesota.
introduce ladies to shooting if they haven't done it. And, that's what got Hannah interested in hunting, was shooting sporting clays. And then we did the 5-stand, which is the same thing, except it was during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a ton of fun with that. And Hannah had a ton of success, which led her to go, I think we want to try hunting. So I want to do the cosmic clays. That sounds like a blast.
There are a couple of gun dog challenges coming up, right? And and people, and I think I wanted to bring it up because as we go into the off season here, it's a fun way to keep yourself active. It's a fun way to keep your dog in the field. I think there's one every month.
Yeah,
there's the first one's the weekend of February 8th and 9th at the Horse and Hunt Club.
Okay.
And then the next one is March. I think I got to check that one out, but I believe it's either the 15th or the 22nd.
People that are interested should just go to the Horse and Hunt Club.
It's on their website.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Moving on. Pheasant Fest. It is approaching very quickly.
Mhm.
We'll be here before we know it. And we have secured our live podcast. Scott. No. Border Brewing Company in Kansas City.
It's a good thing
Border.
you said Kansas City. This is not
Right?
in Des Moines. Yeah, we're going to Kansas City.
Am I wrong here?
No, you're right.
Oh,
you're
okay.
right. It's just
He's just
Border Brewing
Screwing
Company.
with you.
That's the name of it. It's just a short couple-minute walk or drive from is it the convention center?
I think that's what. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to have it again on Friday night. We've had it the last 3 years on Friday night. And 6 p.m., I believe, is the time. We're still working out the details on that. And we'll have all that information coming up in the coming weeks. But first come, first serve on the tables, just like in the past. They are going to basically reserve the entire place, it sounds like, for our crew.
awesome.
So we hope that our listeners will come back again. I think we gave away dog kennels, hunting vests. We gave
Merch,
away
Onyx,
ammo,
Onyx Elite
Onyx,
memberships.
yeah.
We gave away a pile of stuff last year. I've already heard that some more items are coming in.
Mhm.
So we'll have a lot of items to get away. Are you nervous about this though? Because I have confirmed Mr. George Lyle to go for a three-peat.
I'm not nervous because I'm going to be host this year, and you're going to compete.
No, you're not. We already talked about this. You can't change it mid-show.
Why?
It's already...
We're on camera. I get to do what I want. No, I'm not nervous. It'd be fun. Even though you rig it against me, it's okay.
I was listening to Tyler
But now
Webster's.
I have Big Al. So Al may be feeding me a few questions in advance.
I won't tell Al anything.
Al knows,
I don't
Al
trust
knows
him at all. He's untrustworthy.
I feel like I should get all the questions because I'm the producer, you know?
Yes.
Not that I'm going to give them to Scott, but, you know.
It is going to be people's first chance to meet Big Al in person,
I know.
too.
So
God.
the last couple of years, we've done this live trivia, and then the audience gets to participate as well. If somebody listening right now has not been a part of our live show and you're in the area, please come. It's fun. It
It's a
ends
lot
up
of
being
fun.
fun. And you win stuff. And you get to be a part of the game when our hosts and our guests, I should say, cannot get the answers right. The audience has the opportunity to come up on stage and take home like a Ruffin Kennel or a Chief Upland vest or
And you
whatever
won't be
it
on
might be.
camera, don't worry, as far as I know, for people in the crowd, you know?
Al,
What?
weak.
What?
Well, I just want to make sure people aren't scared that
Why
they're
won't
like,
you
oh,
bring
I
the
don't wanna-"
cameras?
Well, what if they need them for something else?
Shh. We'll discuss, Al.
Al. Okay.
We're going to have flush swag. We'll have all the details, but I know there's going to be food there, either food trucks or things like that. It's going to be kind of a fun little mini party.
Yep. So I believe 6 p.m. We usually have the party room booked out until like 8 or 9 by the time we clear out of there. And we hang out. We have a lot of fun. George Lyle, Tyler Webster, and you, again, are going to be
bringing my
competing.
A game this
So
time.
it's the same crew as last time. George mopped up on you guys.
He did.
I mean, it was...
He did.
You got last, didn't you?
I think
don't know.
Tyler
I
might
think
have, but it
Tyler.
was so close.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
was so
they're both
close.
bad.
Yeah, I was listening to Tyler Webster's podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about it, and his buddies are going to come down, and they're going to be watching for cues on George. Like, is there somebody tipping him off in the
Yeah, because
audience?
there's no
or
way
anything
George
like
is that smart about
I
it.
know you wouldn't think it.
No.
You sure wouldn't think it. You look at him, you listen to him talk, you're like, where's it coming from?
Right.
Somebody's feeding him. Anyway,
Travis.
it ain't me. It ain't me.
Millie
I
Kill.
just run. I just run a fair game. That's all I do. You guys, I lay it out for you guys to play it out. Anyway, Hannah, this is really all about you today.
Oh,
I want to know every single detail about your last weekend, dating back to the day that your dad shot the rooster that you were supposed to shoot back in October.
it's been in my nightmares for months
Mine too.
that he stole it from me.
What I love is if you look on social media, the posts, the photos that you're in, everyone is rooting for you. And everyone is like, I can't believe Scott
know.
would do that to you.
People have been backing me up, and
Yeah,
I love it. I
right.
love it.
Rightfully so.
I just want to defend myself.
So hold on. Hannah Fransen is Scott's daughter. I didn't officially in this episode. And the reason I didn't introduce her is because there's been so much talk about this all hunting season since Scott robbed you
Yeah.
of that wonderful opportunity and just stole it right out of you. He didn't want you to have that glory, you know, and that fame.
Seriously.
And he just wanted it for himself. And he thought, if I shoot that bird, I'm going to be
I know.
famous. And, you know,
He wanted me to stay a side character,
It's
and
all
I'm
about
pissed
me.
about it.
right. And what happened? It's not how it worked. She is now, everyone's rooting for her because of what you've done.
That's being a good dad. You
Mhm.
build up your kids, you know.
You had a
We're
plan.
You become the
Yes.
villain.
It was all part of the plan, Big Al. Otherwise, she'd get it on her
The
I
first.
only
will-
one cheering for you is Big Al. That's because
Big Al.
he's sucking up.
Actually, Maddie was kind of cheering for me too, in the episode. But I got two. That's all I need.
She's trying to be the favorite.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about can go back and listen to the episode titled Hannah the Hunter.
Hannah the Hunter,
Yep. And that was in
Very wholesome episode, too.
Very wholesome. Yeah.
like middle of November sometime. I think.
Mid-November.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to recap on that real quick. Where were you guys when your dad stole the rooster and kind of get us caught up?
Porter? Were we in
Mhm.
Porter?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where your hunt check is in
Yep.
Western Minnesota. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So ever since that moment when you left the field and you did not have a bird in hand, you just wanted to go back?
Yeah.
You needed more? I mean,
Yeah. I was pretty bummed, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very competitive person. And so after I didn't get one, I'm like, I need to get my first bird this season. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've been trying to make a plan with the boss man. And he's like, oh, well, I'm busy. Oh, I'm going hunting with my friends.
We tried to make it
Okay.
work at the end of the year, but that didn't work into your social schedule.
Yeah, because you told me a day before.
Well,
That's how hunters operate. My wife is constantly like, hey, can you plan it out? I go, no, the weather. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally it.
Right?
I'm like, can we have a date set so I can block
It's
this
just like,
time
no,
off?
that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
No.
And then she's like, well, can you go now? I go, no.
No,
the
it's
sun is going to
freezing.
set in 17 minutes. Legal shooting hours are done in 17 minutes. It takes me 26 to get to the spot. It doesn't work that way, honey. Anyway, keep going.
My bad. So then we went. So last weekend, then we decided, we had 2 weeks in advance. So I guess it was planned out a good amount. So then I went with my dad and his 3 close hunter besties. And we went there. And should I just tell the whole story?
Yeah, that's
Full
what we're
story?
here for.
Okay.
We got about an hour.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. So we went on a sunset walk on Thursday. It was
Romantic.
very
What a wonderful
romantic.
experience.
Where were
totally.
we, Hannah?
Sorry, not romantic, but sweet.
Yeah.
South,
sweet.
South Dakota. We were in South Dakota and we hunted public land. It was very nice. Millie was wound for sound, so she was really hyper the whole time. That was nice to kind of just get out and walk. And then the next day, Friday, it was pretty warm out, mid-30s. And I got some shots in. And we went in this is it a slough?
Mhm.
We went in this slough.
Well done.
We
Hannah.
went in the
Yep.
slough called the Man Eater, and I nicked a pheasant, but it didn't go down. I was bummed about it. And then everyone's close to their limits, and I'm like, well, what about me? It's my time. It's
Right.
my time.
Right.
And so,
Enough about them.
If I
know.
can just.
Because I'm assuming
short,
hold on, Scott. Hold on.
yeah,
I'm assuming
Al,
that
pipe him down.
you had some great opportunities robbed again
Yeah,
because
obviously.
of
No, I did not load my gun to tell the truth.
he didn't load his gun.
I did not- and I
Millie?
walked right behind
did
her.
not-
I
you
did
really
not
did not
load
wanna-
my gun.
Yeah. Oh, I would have yelled at him so bad if he would
we
have
all
gotten
would have.
another one.
The
I
whole
know.
world would have.
I know.
After we got done with the Man Eater, though, that's when we got the sad girl hours. Everyone's gotten birds but me.
Was she pouting?
Okay,
Yeah, well,
drama.
Because that one, I had to load my gun, and because we had to spread out, and so I was on the right side of Hannah,
Mhm.
and I did shoot 2 birds, but they weren't her birds, and they weren't her birds. And,
I don't know about that.
And that's where she kind of rocked one. She definitely hit it, but she was, it was kind of sad girl hours. So I'm going to let you go from there, Hannah.
Sad girl hours. I wonder where you got that phrase from. You
That's
girls.
from having 3 daughters.
Yeah.
It's a new year, but some things stay the same, like the Onyx Hunt app being one of the most valuable hunting tools I take into the field every single day. I'd feel lost without it, both literally and figuratively. The app is a compass that's ideal for us bird hunters. It shows our position on planet Earth and the land boundaries. It also shows us information about crops and fields and tree covers. You can use the app in CarPlay and Android Auto. You can look at land in 3D to understand terrain. You can create your own trails, check weather, add waypoints, send your location to friends, scout property, find landowners, create your own diary of successful hunts, and so much more. They are also huge supporters of the best conservation organizations in North America, and Onyx is always working to create more publicly accessible places for you and I to hunt. What's not to love about the app? The Onyx Hunt app is awesome. Try it for free for yourself at onyxhunt.com. If you're one of the lucky hunters that harvested your own tasty wild game this hunting season, then I want to personally congratulate you on your success. Well done. And if you want to make the most of all that hard-earned meat, then I recommend you head over to waltons.com. They have everything but the meat. That's their motto. They have all the tools to help you process and prepare your meat, like grinders, mixers, stuffers, slicers, smokers, grills, and seasonings. They have thousands of items in stock and ready to ship the same day. They've also recently launched their own dry curing cabinet and a whole line of chambered vacuum sealers, from large commercial-grade sealers to smaller handheld models. And let me tell you, they are awesome. This year, John Tremblay and his team at Waltons are really focused on adding new content to their Meatgistics library to help all of us hunters make the most of our meat. All of that can be found at waltons.com, And you can listen to their own weekly Meatgistics podcast too. I'm happy to call the hardworking team at Walton's my friends, and I believe they will treat you like one if you choose to trust them with your own meat processing needs. Find everything they have to offer at waltons.com. Marshwear Clothing is one of the hottest clothing brands in the outdoors today. Marshwear designs clothing for the pursuit of good times in the outdoors. Their lineup is versatile, from field to hunt camp to a night out on the town. They have field staples like the Wheeler jacket and long haul pants, and everyday classics like the Sullivan Tech hoodie. Marshwear clothes are designed to keep you looking and feeling your best while you're in the uplands and on everyday adventures. They also have some of the coolest camo patterns on the market today, conceived from an amalgamation of vintage camo patterns from previous generations. Their mallard camo harkens back to the classics of old camouflage, but with a modern day twist. I'm a big fan of their style, fit, and quality. All Marshwear clothes are field tested and approved for the pursuit of good times in the outdoors. Check them out at marshwearclothing.com. As a dad watching her go through this, though, that's part of the experience.
It
and
is.
you
And
had
it-
to know, you probably deep down were kind of like
And these were
feeling
not
that this is good for her.
right. And up until that point, she really only had two what I'd call easier shots. It was windy. The birds would get up quick and they were gone. Or when you're in those sloughs, they'd get up and then they'd go back this way, and you're shooting at about 30 mile an hour or more.
And they were up so high too.
Yeah. Do you want to tell about the pointed bird? Well, before we got to this point,
So, and I specifically, I've been so pumped about this, and I wanted to talk to her about it, but I have not heard any of this at all until now. So, all my questions are going to be like, I'm not thought out. There's nothing written down here about this.
Hannah, did you bring your trophies in here at least?
Oh,
My
we could have shown them. Well, we could
feathers.
maybe go back and get them.
Yeah, run and grab them.
But
I wish.
Before
that was
Just saying.
before we
Just
got to the
saying.
man-eater, we hunted 3 other sloughs, and we were doing probably 40 to 45-minute walks, push through, move on. And on the third slough we were in, I said, I'm going to take Hannah on the right side of the slough. They were walking the left side and pushing the middle out. We walked, 150 yards out, and I said, okay, let's get in the slough here. And 10 feet in, Millie puts up like 10 birds and one rooster real close. Missed that one.
Who missed?
Hannah, I'm
Okay.
I'm unloaded.
Okay,
I'm
yep.
unloaded. And
Did she swear?
no, she
No.
went, shoot. And then as she's unloading, 20 more got
that
us.
was my issue.
Yeah.
Is that it took me forever to reload my gun, and then every time there was a rooster right in front of me. I'm like, "Ugh, every time, why does this keep on happening to me?
And so then we keep walking. I said, it's okay. We're going to see more. And that was the reason. And we didn't say where we were at. We were at Brown's Lodge and Hunting Ranch, where we've done the Hank hunt twice. And I wanted to bring Hannah there based on the number of wild birds they have to get a lot of chances.
Mhm.
And so we kept walking, and Millie goes on a hard lab point. I mean, she's staring down at this bird, and I'm kind of thinking it's a hen, but I said, and I'm telling her to stay. I said, Hannah, okay, I'm going to go try and kick it up because she's not moving. And then as I'm walking up, the bird comes up, flies right across Hannah, 10 yards,
Too close.
15 yards maybe, missed that one. And we're like, oh, it's
Hannah,
okay.
Don't
It's-
feel bad.
Yeah.
I can't even count how many times the cameramen have just perfectly been focused on me flushing a bird at my feet off of my dog's point, and I miss it. So don't feel bad.
It's definitely
The
humbling.
close ones, you're thinking about it. You know it's there.
Totally.
It's too close.
Yep.
And
And I think you're kind of thinking hen too. I might have said
Yeah.
it's probably a hen.
Yeah,
or
you
something like
did.
that.
You totally did.
And so then we walked that slough. You might have got a couple more shots, but nothing came down. Did the man-eater slough. Now fast forward to Hannah. You take it from here.
Okay.
Oh,
So, I was a little bummed. You were a little bit dramatic. I was not sad girl hours, as you would say. But okay, I was a little sad. So then we're going to our next spot, and we're on, it's a dirt, like a
Field road.
field road. That's what I was searching for.
Oh, you took her road hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And then a rooster runs by, and I'm like, I want to shoot that bird. Like, I want to shoot it. And so he's like, okay, I'll go ask the guy from Brown's and see if we can. He's like, okay, we can. Here's 2 shells. Let's see if you can get one. So then we get Millie out. We're all quiet. We're walking, and then
It ran into this slough area. Another
Yeah.
slough, yeah.
And I'm guessing there's probably 50 more with it.
We only saw the one.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
we only saw one.
Maybe
at that
that's
time.
a good thing.
Yeah. And then, so then I walked max 10 steps and 2 hens go up and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to stay ready. And then 2 grouse come up, but I didn't know that it was a grouse at that point because they're hard. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell
Especially
for
when
me.
you saw
Did
two
they laugh
Especially-
at you as they flew away? Did you hear the?
No, it's too windy.
No,
It's too
no.
Oh,
windy,
really?
yeah.
Too. Oh.
But then he's like, grouse, like sharp
I
to
couldn't
grouse.
spit it out.
He couldn't. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, wait, can I shoot that? And he's like, yes. And then right as he says that, a group of like 6 more come up, and then 2 more come up, and then he's like, hit that one.
Shoot that one.
Shoot that one. Points to it. I pull up my gun. Bam! 1 shot down. And then Scott Fransen's, yes!
I bet. I bet. There's so much build up to that for you. And for you, Hannah, obviously.
Yeah, and we're both screaming, and then his friend from the cars, yeah! And everyone is just amped. And I'm shaking full of adrenaline because I'm so happy.
It was like 18 grouse.
Yeah,
it was unreal.
That's
super
I
cool.
mean,
Super
for that
cool.
late in the season, for them to hold that tight, that's not
Yeah.
a very
Did
common
you guys embrace
experience.
in a big hug after?
We did.
We did.
hugged,
We
yeah,
did.
for
I saw the
sure.
video where you guys were talking about it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have it? Can you put it up?
Should I? I can put it up.
It's the award.
All right. So
That's
this is,
the
I
award.
guess this is the beauty of having a video
I
podcast
don't know.
now.
It's
There's for those
It's
listening.
the BC award.
Huh?
It's
It's
the
when
BC
she got
award.
the-
Oh.
Yeah, it's not in the field.
Well, go ahead and just put a
All right.
picture of her
Yeah,
holding this
yeah.
bird up behind me. So
All right.
people that are driving and listening right now, this video podcast, if Al pulls it off, will be online. And behind me is a massive screen here, video monitor, TV.
Yeah, there it is.
And there she is,
Her
holding.
and Millie.
What a beautiful bird.
Me and Mel.
Look at Millie. She's staring at like 6 more.
I
off
know.
in the distance.
There were pheasants getting
Yeah.
up where she was looking.
Really?
So as we
but
got,
at that moment, you just need to just like you
Oh.
did. You embrace, right?
Yeah.
You took it
Yeah.
all
Oh,
in.
it was- and the thing was, I could have hit another bird because there were so
more
many
grouse
around.
got up.
Question for you. Did the one that fall, was that the one you were aiming at? Or were you aiming at a
Yes,
different one and then did that
I was
one fall?
aiming at that
Okay.
It
one.
was the
good
one
for
I
you.
pointed at.
Okay.
Said,
Yeah.
shoot that
Okay.
one.
It was
yeah.
the exact one,
All
which
right.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked I actually hit it.
I was too.
That's okay.
I was
Hey,
shocked.
way to be honest.
No, I
Oh.
knew you were shocked too. Yeah.
Because it was one of those, that's why I just like, oh my God, yeah.
2 fist pump in the air. It was awesome. That was so great.
So
But then-
adrenaline is. Oh, keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there's more.
Well,
okay.
because then we couldn't find it for a little bit. And so I'm panicking because I'm like, my first grouse, we don't even find it. I would have been heartbroken. So then Millie's looking all over. She can't find it. And then,
She kept following pheasant scent
yeah.
going off
Yeah.
on because birds are
there's
all.
there's so much going
scent.
on. Oh,
And then the Louis brought his dogs out and Steve brought his dog out and everyone's looking. And I'm like, Dad, I think it's back a little bit. And then right when we went back, oh, we found it. I'm the smartest person ever. Obviously.
you found it or a dog?
No,
No,
dog.
dog.
But
found
like
it.
I knew where it was.
So going back to my son in North Dakota this fall, his first bird too, the same thing. It was a partridge, and the bird goes down, and it went down into real thick stuff, nasty. What do you call that? What'd you call that slough? The
man-eater?
The man eater. This was
Yeah.
like a man eater too. So, and I thought, oh my goodness, there's no way we're gonna find it, but we have to. We absolutely
Yeah.
have to. And that was the one where Daisy went on point, and I'm like, it's right here. And then we started burying in there, and then it gets up, and then she catches it midair,
Oh,
and then brings it to me, and I grab it, and I'm holding it, and I turned to say, gosh, I got it. And it flew out of my hand.
No way.
And it flew into the bigger man eater. And I was thinking, there's no way.
Oh.
I was running through the needles and everything trying to get it because I'm like, this is my boy's first, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I know what you were going through that moment, and you're
Oh,
probably
yeah.
thinking, we have to find it.
everyone was
Yeah.
all hands on
Yeah.
deck. We're gonna find this
Yeah.
bird. And and with the grouse, I was less concerned about it running away. I just figured, they hadn't picked up the scent
Sure.
of that bird yet because there's so
Yeah.
much scent. Because my buddy Steve told me as we got out of the car and started walking to the grouse, 6 pheasants ran off to the right that were about to cross the road. So there's just birds.
There's just
all
so many birds.
over.
Yeah, they get so much scent on the ground. It's hard to focus.
Yeah. I knew it was going down though, because it went boo.
Yeah, it did the helicopter.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. That was so cool.
So, how many birds you think you shot at, wild birds, this fall before you got that one in hand?
Before I got that one?
Yeah.
I shot at probably 10.
That day or the whole fall? Because
The whole fall.
you shot at one.
Yeah, ballpark. I mean,
Probably-
a dozen.
probably
a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
10 to
that's
12.
about her percentage with pen raised birds too. Because we, as part of her practice, I went to the game farm and put out 10 birds, and we got them all up, and she shot at all of them and got 2. Yeah, so it was about the same percentage. But then
Not
you
great.
got better on
on
Saturday
Yeah.
as you went. Yeah.
So,
Well, still shot a lot of.
well, I mean, there's a lot of listeners right now that want to introduce a loved one, a friend, somebody to hunting. But I think what that proves is it's not always you go out and you get it on the
Mhm.
first try. But for you to finally succeed and stick with it, maybe it's that you're competitive. Is that what kept you coming back? Or was there something
Both.
else? Because the one comment you made when you interviewed your family on that hunt, Scott, one thing that really stood out was you didn't know you could love Millie anymore until you saw her in her element out
Mhm.
there.
That is a huge reason why I wanted to hunt again, because seeing her in a completely different atmosphere was so cool. It was so cool. And having that connection in the field, it was awesome. And it makes me want to get my own dog.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is this happening, Scott? Look at you over there smirking. Look
I-
how
I
happy you
told
are
her
right
she's
now.
Happy to do it.
I know.
Do it.
I'd love one of Millie's puppies, but we'll see.
And
see.
is she going to be
Well, she
having a litter soon? Do we know?
Well, no. Well, we think she's going to come into heat in the next 30 days or
Okay.
so. So more to come, filming 11 on that. But if that's the case, then that would mean puppies on the ground, like late April, May sometime.
More to come here.
Yeah.
A lot more to come
Lot more to
because
come.
we'll discuss what you're going to do there, and I'm sure you have a master plan because Al will tell you you're just brilliant. You're full of great
He's got a big old
plans.
smirk
No
on
way.
his face.
Look at him over there. He's watching. Okay, back to you, Hannah. Most importantly, so you've got this bird, but the hunt is not done. I saw you holding several more. Big Al, threw up some roosters behind me.
All right. Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, let's see what do we got. And you can just keep it up for a while too. We don't need to see that logo all the time. But Hannah, so now you're back into the field. Now you're back after pheasants.
Mhm.
Take us back into the hunt here.
Well, so are we going next day, Saturday? So Saturday, it was like 17 degrees in the morning. What would you say, 25, 30?
25 to 35 mile an hour
Yeah.
winds.
Just a
It-
nice little South Dakota
Yeah.
breeze.
It was brutal in the
Mhm.
morning.
What hurt the most the first? Was it your fingertips? Was it your toes?
Fingertips.
Okay.
My hand, in the first 45 minutes, I couldn't even feel my hand.
But then you
So-
go through this burning sensation.
Yeah.
It hurts. You just need to
Yep.
work through it. I'm like, do the helicopter with your arms. Get
Yeah.
that through blood flow.
Yeah.
And then once you pass it, then don't go in the truck. Don't go in the heat. Just stay outside.
Mhm.
You're good for the day.
And with the first hunt, it was even worse than the man eater. Like, it was 10 times worse than the man eater, in my opinion.
Why?
Because it was longer. And I got on some trails in the man eater that I was okay with, but then on the other one I didn't have any. So I'm pushing through. I'm like, if a bird came up, I wouldn't even see it. It's over my head. Like, so that was tough. That was tough for
The
me.
first hunt on Saturday was a 2-hour hunt too,
Yeah.
versus 45 minutes.
That's
to
my
an hour.
kind of hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
And
just
there-
get in
and there
there and
was-
then we see something that looks better and you got to keep going. You can't turn
Well,
around.
it was just there's birds all over, and
Yeah.
so you just keep either bumping them or trying to follow where they went. And
Was Millie in front of you when you were going through the man eater number 2?
she's between us,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went,
but you lose them in there a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, you don't see them a lot.
I'd
until
see her
they come
pop
back.
in or
Yeah.
pop in and out. But then what did I do? Like a food plot? Was that what I was going through?
So, yes. So this this slough
I don't know
is
the
surrounded
terms.
by, a small sorghum type of ring around it, and we'd crossed the slough, got up a bunch of birds in you probably shot 6 or 8 times in there.
Like 6.
Yeah, and nothing in hand yet. And then she went on the inside edge of this food plot, and one of the other hunters went on the outside edge with his dogs. And there's only room for 1 or 2 dogs in there. He had his 2 dogs. So I went out in kind of the thicker cover and just flanked and watched as Hannah
Missed.
missed, and then had,
Missed a ton.
and had a lot of where she'd take the little harder shot, because that was the bird that got up twice, and then start reloading, and 3 more would get up right
Right
by-
in front of me.
As a dad watching, what's the feedback? Are you just letting her work through it? Are you giving her some hints or some tips, or hey, try this?
I couldn't. First, she couldn't hear me there because I was far enough away, and the wind was so strong. If you weren't real close, you couldn't hear it. When I saw on the first day, I said, "What do you think, Hannah? Do you think you were behind that bird?" And she'd say, "Yeah," and I go, "Yeah, I think so too. I think so too." And then one time I could tell, because you're wearing a lot of clothes, which, as we all know, that makes it harder.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't getting the gun mounted the way you want to. And even a couple times I did. I'd come up quick and I'd mount it on my bicep, but I saw a couple times where she wasn't getting her head all the way down on the barrel, and that was the only 2 tips I really gave you. Don't you think?
I will not lie. In the beginning, on the first day, I was just shooting to shoot. I was aiming, but I had no idea if I was behind or in front. I had no idea. But then, I needed to get the rust off a little bit, and then it got a lot easier, and I was more in motion, and I was thinking less. So that was kind of a big reason why. But
You eventually hit a couple birds,
yes,
and that had to feel pretty dang gratifying for you to miss and
Yeah.
and freeze and go through those terrible places and just keep powering through. So are you happy that it happened that way?
yeah. I definitely needed to work for it, because then that made me love it more, and I have more respect for hunters, because this is hard. Hunting 8+ hours a day is really hard, and so it was way more gratifying when I was able to actually finally hit it, and bring it down, and then have Millie bring it to me, and Scott Fransen screaming 2 fist pumps in the air. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one I hit, it was right before my dad's friend Brad hit it. It was like a half a second before, and I didn't think I got it. But then a guy from Browns was like, "That was you. You hit it. It was like a half a second before. That was your shot. That was your bird." And I'm like, "Yeah."
Everybody was pretty focused on trying to get Hannah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that one, I will tell you, Hannah, I don't know if I even told you that was the shot I was most proud of, because there was safety concerns that you checked off before you shot. She had to clear a person and a truck, or a truck and a person, until the bird was in a shootable position. And that's when you took the shot, and it was obvious. That's when you hit it, and that because Brad was blocking, and then he shot, and so that was, and the other part beyond getting the bird, and I think people that I'm sure, Travis, when you've brought your family out hunting, and for viewers that have brought their families out, safety is the number one thing.
Yep.
And you can get so caught up in the hunt itself and trying to secure that bird that you might forget it. And I was constantly seeing you be safe, which I didn't have to remind you of. And that was really, really, really good from my perspective.
So what stands out to you now, looking back on the season? Because we asked our listeners, our followers, the same question, but before we get to their comments, I want to know what you've taken away from this hunting season.
Well, obviously getting my first grouse and my first 2 pheasants. Yep. But
It's not going to be the one your dad stole from under you? The one that has
was
so
hilarious.
famously been talked about all for like
Ad
3 months
nauseam.
now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that isn't trending on Twitter. That Scott
I know.
stole
It's
Hannah's bird.
not, if anybody asks me what I'll remember from this season, it's going to be Scott shooting
I can
Hannah's bird.
guarantee you.
And
Big
my
Al,
kids got their first. My wife got her first pheasant, and yet that still might be.
This is going to be a question in the stupid trivia podcast we do at Pheasant Fest. I guarantee you.
If you call it stupid one more time, you
Yeah,
are not
come
going to
on.
even be invited on the panel. There are so many people that want in on this, Mr. Fransen.
Oh, I know there's a big waiting line. Trust me, I would sit in the audience and drink beer all night and heckle you.
Oh.
Well, but for me, I have a new passion now. I really enjoyed it. I loved being outside. I loved spending time with my dad and getting closer in that way. And I thought it was a blast. Getting some exercise. It was awesome.
You guys touched on it months ago, but why did you ultimately want to try this?
Like I said before in the previous podcast, my dad is my biggest role model, and
Same with Al.
Same with Al.
Initially, I'm like, Scott Fransen needs a little hunting buddy, and we had shot some clays, and I had a blast. I loved it. I love that I could actually hit one, and when I did, it was exhilarating. And I'm like, if I think that this is fun, I just know that getting a wild bird is going to be just that much more fun.
Why did it take this long for this to happen, Scott?
Well, when the kids are younger, they're busy, and all my girls were in besides school in different activities, and so I would carve out 1-2 days a season, maybe more, where I could, and say, guys, we're going to go hunting, and they always wanted to go. They always want, and I think the other part for you, Hannah, I don't want to answer for you, but is the dogs.
Oh, for sure.
All the girls, my whole family loves our dogs. Hannah, if I were to say, is probably the biggest dog lover of all the 3 girls, and that's saying something, because Maddie and Grace adore Millie and all of our dogs. And so, it was just a step process. Once their schedules or her schedule opened up enough to do, we tried the shooting first, and they liked that, and then movie. And when the shooting was kind of taking hold, I asked them all, I said, guys, you think any of you might want to try bird hunting once, be with Hank at the time, et cetera. And Hannah said, well, maybe, Dad, I might. And the other two said, no, this is fun. I just like walking with you, Dad. I like watching the dogs. And then after this summer is when Hannah said, I think I might want to do it, Dad. And then we started going through the process of, hunter safety and things like that.
Did anything prior to hunting this year, because you work here now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're around this, we produce this content, and you're I'm talking to you about it. Others here are talking to me like, what are these guys doing? Why are they walking for days and days? And you've seen some of the video, you've seen some of the laughs, some of the struggles, all that stuff. Was that any intrigue
for sure?
for you?
I was going to bring that up too. Like being in this atmosphere, and it's all these different sports, outdoors, hunting, fishing, just all these activities. I'm like, well, I want to try it. I want to do something new. And with the dogs, like I loved watching Millie work, but now I'm not just walking behind, because when I would walk behind, I'd maybe be looking at my feet, trying not to trip, or just looking at nature. But now I'm like, okay, I'm watching Millie, like how birdie is she? If a bird goes up, I'm like, oh, I actually know whether it's a hen or a rooster.
Sure.
My sisters would not know that at all. Like they
You're
just
probably
scream.
looking at a big clump of thick cover in the middle of grass, thinking, I got to get there.
And there's birds in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, isn't
my
it?
mindset has definitely changed for sure.
Started
sure.
watching for tracks.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
for me, that part was really fun when you were watching Millie and you'd go. And if I lost her, I'd say, Hannah, can you see Millie? Yep, I can see her. Is she birdie? Yes, she is. She's pretty birdie, Dad. Or no, she just seems like she's hunting, and that sort of thing. Having a little partner out there beyond it. And when I wasn't loaded, I was closer to Hannah, and I was just trying to make sure Millie hunted for Hannah. And I think she did for the most part.
And I liked looking at all the other dogs too, and just like being out in a straight line. I've never been a part of one of those before. So then seeing everyone walk in a line and seeing all the dogs work ahead, it was super cool.
What have your girlfriends said to you?
Well, they did not know what a grouse was. And I was like, I got my first bird. It was a grouse. It's even cooler. And they're like, what's a grouse?
What's a grouse?
They're like, what's a grouse? Cool though. Proud of you.
Yeah.
Supportive, but don't know anything about it for sure.
Any of them dig into it a little bit deeper, wondering, did you really like it? Did you just do it for your dad? Or did you really like it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly,
for sure.
I mean, I think that's a legit question.
Yeah, they did. And I was like, in all honesty, it was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, I'm going to be with my dad and all of his friends. Like I'm going to be a part of the boys, and I'm going to be hunting for 9 hours, and then I'm going to be staying up with them late into the night.
Late into the night, 9:30, Hannah was in bed.
Well,
like,
you get
oh,
tuckered out on
That's
it.
that's also what she told me. She said, they're all staying up late.
And I'm
in bed by
exhausted.
9:30."
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I don't know how they do this.
I do think one of the reasons you liked shooting to start with, and now how it's progressed to birds, is Hannah was, a basketball player in high school. She did other sports, but in high school she focused on basketball, and she was a 3-point shooter and a good 3-point shooter, I will say, as her dad. And there
And
was
coach.
the
And
thrill.
coach.
The thrill of that 3-point shot is what you like doing.
Oh, yeah.
And shooting, especially shooting and hitting, is a little bit like that. It's different than, the mentality of a guard breaking down a player and then going to the hoop. That's a little bit different
You're
mentality.
so right.
You're
right.
They
Yeah.
call 3-point shooters sharpshooters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's shooting is like that.
So there's just a whole bunch of heck yes and awesome and way to go. I'm looking at the photo right now.
A bunch of people were even sharing it on their Instagram stories. Like I saw
Yeah.
Cast Iron
I
Kennels shared
know.
it.
Love you, Steve.
Right. Shout out to
Appreciate
Steve
it.
Hall. That's why I'm looking for this. I'm trying to find the comment. Dang it, I can't seem to find it right now. But he basically said, I've been showing my girls and keeping them updated. Thanks for being a good role model for them.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
I love that. That makes me really
Right?
happy because I see like Laura as a role model and like other people and my cousin who got her hunter safety and got her first year, and I'm like, I want to do that. Like, and so by me being a role model for little kids, it just makes me happy.
Scott, how does that make you feel?
Her being a role model?
Yeah.
I feel sorry for those people that are saying
I
that.
knew you were gonna say something like that.
No, that makes me feel great. It shouldn't matter whether it's a boy or girl. We should be wanting to introduce everybody to this sport that we love. And I know for me and my girls, they would continue, and your older sisters probably won't hunt. And if they do, I'll love it. But they will still want to go with us
Mhm.
and go with me. And that's the most important thing, because they can still appreciate the dog work. They can still appreciate the beauty of the land, the sunsets, the sunrises, and things like that. And the adversity. It's raining today.
Mhm.
We're hunting. Hannah is the hunter. It rained in the
Yeah.
afternoon. We were out there hunting.
Was there any point that you were ready to call it quits?
Yeah. It was after the 2-hour-long walk I'd missed so many times. And then after he's like, you went through 2 boxes of shells, didn't you? I'm like, no, I didn't.
That's pretty good.
I know.
It was a
tough.
good box.
It,
so.
it was a good. And I was so cold. I was freezing. It was really, really cold out. And I'm like, 2 hours. That was a long time. And we had lunch and I was still really cold. I'm like, maybe I just take a quick snooze and I take one break and then I'll do the next one. And then Steve, my dad's friend, was like, you should do it. Like it's not going to be bad. The cover's not super heavy. Like it'll be okay. And then he's
And
like,
you're going to regret it.
So we should really give full proper credit to Steve
Yeah.
for your success, not your
yes,
dad.
basically, because I wouldn't
Okay.
have gotten my 2 pheasants.
Yeah.
And then
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. And then
But
I was
also,
like,
I'll say, as a dad, if I'd have said it, it may not have had the same ring
Yep.
as it was for Steve. And
Totally.
Hannah's known Steve since she's been this high and loves
Just a
and
grasshopper.
adores
I love
Steve and adores Brad and Pete too.
I love them. Love them
But
all.
so it carried more when Steve's like, nah, and he did it in a really good way. Just you might regret it, and it's not. The wind's dying down a little
Mhm.
bit. When we'll, just be short walks, Hannah.
At the Flush Podcast, we make it our business to bring you educational, inspiring, and entertaining upland bird hunting content. But we're not the only ones. Our friends Nicholas Lirio and Kent Boucher at the Prairie Farm Podcast have created one of my favorite podcasts. Their weekly topics range from wild hunting stories to conservation efforts to America's food system. I enjoy their thought-provoking conversations so much that I've invited them on this podcast twice in the past year, and I hope to have them back again soon. If you're looking for more great content in this outdoor space, I highly recommend you listen to the Prairie Farm Podcast, found on all major streaming platforms.
Your most devoted friend doesn't put a seatbelt on or stand on 2 legs. You're his keeper, and you'll do anything to protect that bond. Protect them with a Lucky Duck kennel. Lucky Ducks are 5-star crash tested from the center of pet safety to keep your hunting partner safe. The patented one-piece rotomolded kennel is durable yet lightweight, so anyone in the family can move it. Lucky Duck kennels feature stainless steel hardware, powder-coated tie-downs, and are proudly made in the USA. So go to LuckyDuck.com today to see the full line of kennels and accessories. Keep your dog safe from the unpredictable with a Lucky Duck, because loyalty goes both ways.
If you're active in great outdoor adventures, then odds are good that you have gear, equipment, and toys that you need to haul. Well, our friends at Illuma Trailers, they've got you covered. Their trailers are built by a hardworking team in Bancroft, Iowa, right here in the good old USA. They have models for all of your hauling needs, from ATV and UTV trailers to snowmobile, motorcycle, car trailers. And, well, basically, if you need to haul it, they have a trailer to tow it. Trust me when I say that Illuma Trailers tow gear like a dream. Their trailers are constructed out of lightweight, strong, corrosion-resistant aluminum, and they are 100% maintenance-free. Plus, they come with an industry-best 5-year warranty. Visit alumaklm.com to find a trailer that fits your needs. And that's something that I've talked about over the last couple of years that I have learned is the value of stepping in as a mentor or a friend or, a father figure to some other person that knows you, respects you, that is a different voice.
Yes.
So, for instance, when my wife and I shoot clays, she's got it figured out now. I don't tell her what to do. Every once in a while, she might be doing something. I'll be like, lean forward, lean into it a little bit. You're kind of falling back. But other than that, I don't say much. But when we bring other couples out, I can see sometimes the husband or exactly. Yes. Because, it's easier for me to give some advice because they're not mad at me for the last 16 things I did wrong or whatever it might be. So step in. If you have the opportunity to help coach and teach along the way, whether it's in the field or whether it's somebody learning or shooting, any of those things, that's a great place to interject and just build confidence.
For sure.
Confidence is huge.
Yeah.
And when you come out of the field, like I mean, you're pumped up. You've been pumped up the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And hunting gives you the opportunity to overcome some real challenges out there. And you learn a lot about the land. You learn a lot about yourself. You stuck with it. You accomplished something.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody here has been so pumped for you. Everybody online, that's why we're like almost an hour into this conversation. And I was planning to go into several other stories. We'll get to some of them. But Hannah, the hunter, high five. Congratulations. Yay. Scott Fransen, hey, high five to you too for making it happen. It's a team effort.
Yeah. And right after, that night after I got the pheasants, my dad's like, well, did you text Travis and Bill? I'm like, I texted them 5 minutes after. I texted them each separately.
You texted me pretty early, like at a decent time.
I texted you hours after I texted
that, which is crazy.
She called her mom, texted her sister.
I called my mom.
Rightfully so.
I texted, so it literally went my mom, Travis, and Bill pretty much at the same time. And then I texted my roommates, and then I texted my fam, and then a couple hours later, I was like, okay, I'll text Alex.
Oh, okay. I was
legitimately so pumped, too. We all were legitimately so pumped because you went out and did it.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about this is this trip, I wanted to go, like I said before, to a spot where we know we'd see birds, and she'd have multiple opportunities, especially if it's going to be cold and miserable. You don't want to walk all day for that one shot. I might appreciate that. You might appreciate that. Someone first starting would have been, I don't know if I like this, Dad. And there were supposed to be 2 other hunters going with us that had not shot their first pheasant yet. They'd hunted with my friends, this group, several times. We had them out earlier this year. They missed on birds, and they were going to come on this trip. A little older than Hannah, but they were going to come on the trip too to try and get the first birds. And last minute, they had to pull out. So it was, you can do it a variety of ways. As I think the next phase for Hannah is now you need to learn to recognize places you can hunt on your own and what to look for in the covers and all the things that we talk about in the podcast.
Yeah. Part of it's just
but we
being
fast
out there
forwarded it to this
you're immersed in
to try and get it. And now hopefully that fuse is lit so that when we have to put in the hard work together to find those birds on our own, that perseverance is still there.
For sure. And I need to not have my gun just like
that's
this.
The other thing. She walked like this the whole way. In the ready position.
In the ready position.
My thumb was on my safety at all times. Like this thumb was numb after 2 days because I'm just at all times
part of the learning process.
One more thing. You got to share about when we saw the grouse in the beginning.
Oh, well, this is kind of prophetic. Yeah. As we were going to these sloughs to hunt, it's quite a drive. And right before we got to where we're going to hunt, about 8 grouse flew across the road. And I go, oh, Hannah, look at the sharp tails. And Steve and I are in the car together with Hannah. And she said, well, how do you tell they're sharp tails? And I said, well, look at their wing beat. Because now you can't see color.
Yep.
I see they're going to go flap, 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 coast, flap, 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 coast. And she goes, okay, I kind of get it. Yeah, I see that. And she said, will you help me if we see any? And I said, yes, we might see some. She said, if I get a grouse as my first bird, does that count? I said, oh, yeah, that's a bigger deal, Hannah. Like,
Right.
you get a sharp-tailed grouse.
Here's the
as
other
your first
cool
bird.
part. The sharp-tailed grouse is native to that land. It was here before any human disturbed the soil, and pheasants were brought over from Europe.
So truly wild.
Truly wild,
That was my first
native
bird.
birds to the land,
Awesome.
which
You feel
makes
way
it
cooler that you got a grouse before a pheasant. Is what I
Yeah.
heard Travis say.
Mhm.
Woo!
Well, we
Mhm.
pointed that out. She got the big cock award on Friday night,
Mhm.
and we let her know that.
What a family-friendly award it is.
That's right.
I know you put that on TV multiple times too. So what it is it's a bunch of like wire from some fence
baling
post,
wire.
and then you've got shotgun shells and
A pheasant head
a
and 2
pheasant.
feet.
Yeah. Then I think the winner has to add something to it, right? Or is that our fishing
No,
trophy?
that's the fishing trophy.
Okay, you got to hang a different lure of your choice or something
Yeah.
like that. But having an award afterwards to celebrate, and yeah, cheers to Hannah.
Cheers to Hannah.
Cheers to Hannah. I
Cheers.
have a couple more questions, but honestly, we're never going to get to our listeners. So I don't know, Al, do we do another show and just dig into that, or do we?
Well, we could save the listener questions for its own show, just so the people know, hey, this is
You
I'm
do that next week.
Yeah, we
the
could.
main episode.
All right. Okay, so then back to Hannah. what would? Okay, I'm going to read one though.
All
I'm
right,
gonna read one because I mean it'll just kind of get you to come to like get an idea for what's coming next week, and then we'll get back into
Okay.
So because I want to know what you saw for snow cover, what the birds look, health of that kind of stuff. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question I posed online was, what will you remember from this hunting season? And we had a lot of submissions, and they're still coming in too, which is great. And I have some messages, and you better check because we have
Mhm.
messages and emails, and people send them all over the place. Which I tried to just say comment here. They're everywhere. So whatever, we'll take them all.
So disclaimer,
This-
please comment here next week.
This one is great. I just love it. Worst story. I said in the video. I said it could be your best moment, your worst moment, something that you'll remember. And the worst story came from Benjamin Wood. I was dove hunting. I know that's not upland, but opening day of dove.
Oh,
And we get out early and find a spot by some corn. The hunt goes fine. Well, apparently we must have taken someone's spot because they decided to use the restroom. Number 2, right next to my truck. When we got back to the truck, my dog rolled all over in it. I had not been prepared for this. Nobody should.
That
And
story
we
never
had-
gets old.
And we had a smelly ride home all the way before his bath. Come on, people.
yeah.
Come on.
Isn't there something else? Just a note,
Yeah,
maybe.
leave a note.
FYI.
Well,
I had
I'm
this-
assuming it was
Or
a
just
public
like
spot
saying,
and-
hey, you
yeah.
know, we were gonna hunt. That's our spot. Or so, I don't know.
No,
Like, don't
first-
have to-
hey, if it's public land,
public,
it's
it's
first
public
right,
land,
first
right.
right. I mean,
Like, oh, you got me. You got me.
but that's terrible. That is absolutely
Can't we all just get
terrible.
along?
we do not
guys? Yeah.
condone that on
Can't
the
we-
show,
no.
by the way.
No, that is
Oh.
absolutely disgusting. We got another one. I'll do one more. This was pretty good too. This comes from Craig Jeffs. This was crazy. That's how he starts it. And he ends it with, it was crazy. Too, which I love. This was crazy. I was hunting grouse. My lab got super birdie. So I'm following him down this ridge, just going crazy. We get to a thicket. He goes in after it. I'm waiting for a big blue to come out. And here he comes out with a great big skunk in his
Oh,
mouth,
no.
spraying everywhere.
In his mouth?
In his mouth,
Oh,
spraying him
no.
everywhere. It was
Oh.
crazy.
Oh, God.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
Will you come back for next week's story time?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll just
Yeah,
call it
for
story
sure.
time, Big Al.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Hannah, think about what you want to do next, okay? Because you've accomplished something pretty awesome. Now, because like I have my list of here's what I want to do
Yeah.
next, right? Scott, What did you think of the conditions out in South Dakota? Not much snow.
No snow.
Okay, so the birds are not stressed.
They're not stressed at all. No.
A lot of birds.
We saw a ton of birds. Yeah, ton of birds, ton of hens, a lot of grouse, a lot of sharp-tailed grouse too. The first night we hunted, we probably saw 24. Never got close to them, but they're flying all around. I mean, knock on wood, right now the winter is a non-event, and especially this week in the Midwest is really warm.
Yep, warming up this week.
Yeah.
Awesome, 40s, and
It's supposed to be 50 on.
Yep.
When this comes out, it'll be 50.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
So the one concern that I do have, and I talked to a couple people up in northern Minnesota just to kind of check in. Rough grouse snow roost, and so they'll bury themselves in the snow. And it was very cold for the last 10 days. So my concern is that some of those birds might have froze.
Yep.
Don't know what the result is at this point, but they just need that snow. It can get cold. The grouse just bury right in, and that's how they stay warm. If they don't have that snow, that could be an issue. So we'll see what happens there. But, so much of what we see come hunting season really depends on the hatch.
Right.
Exactly.
So, in the spring.
Yep. So anything right now without having, this warm weather, obviously, I mean, it opens up anything that might have been covered by snow, but it's been very little. Even out into North
Dakotas. I drove through the Dakotas 2 weeks ago. Was it, Hannah? And there's virtually no snow there. Eastern Montana, the same. We started seeing snow once you get past Billings. There was some snow, but in the traditional upland bird hunting areas in the eastern part of the state, I don't know what about it was above the interstate. There, it's again a non-factor. There's not much of a winter going on there.
We're always talking about the weather because it affects everything. So there'll be a point where we need some moisture, though. Because that grass needs to have bugs. It needs diversity. We need some of that moisture. So there's that balance in there. I don't think an upland hunter can ever truly feel good.
No.
With what's to come, because there's so many.
I think
variables.
that's what I've learned from working here.
Yeah.
You guys are just never happy. You're always mad. Always mad about something.
Travis isn't mad.
I'm always
Travis
happy.
has a clear mind.
Travis is a half.
Yeah.
He's
I
a
am
half full
totally
guy.
is.
Yeah, I am a glass
Not
half full.
mad.
At least I
shouldn't
want
say
to.
mad.
Concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Concerned is the right word.
I'm looking at the variables.
Yep.
I think, because I want it to be the best it can be every single time I walk out in the field, and that in the mountains. Potentially this season, the year of the quail. We talked about that.
Oh yeah.
But also, there may never be as many chucker in the United States, chucker partridge, as there are this year.
Yeah.
And I know seasons are either ending this past weekend or in the coming days here, but everybody that I talked to had never seen anything like it before. And that's exciting too, because
It's a bucket list. Bucket list bird, Hannah.
it's a bucket list. So back to you, Hannah. Since it's all about you today, Hannah the Hunter, what do you want to do next?
Okay,
Take over my role as the host of The Flush? Take over your dad's role?
obviously I was already
Yeah.
thinking
Done.
about
Okay.
You can do the video game at Pheasant Fest.
that.
I'll heckle you.
Oh, I have a lot of knowledge.
Wait,
up
right.
there.
video game. We got to bring
I
a
mean,
video game.
the trivia game.
Yeah.
Video. What? Yeah.
We made
Look
it
at,
into a
there's
video
no
game.
respect. Video game. What in the world?
Big
He's
Al's going to
officially-
video it, so it's a video game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I've already talked to Bill about this, but I want to go hunting with you and Bill.
Not
I'm
Scott.
not kidding. Well, who cares about him? I've already done it with him.
Take her.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I want
I
to go.
offered to go with the South
I
Dakota.
wanted you
I
to
actually
go.
said, "Can I go with?" And
I wanted you to go.
And he was like,
No.
"No." I said, "We need to film Hannah's first bird." And you filmed yourself shooting her bird. You need to do
said
justice to this.
You were glad there wasn't no
I am
camera
glad
there.
there were no cameras.
Right.
That would have
Right.
been some added pressure for me.
And this, I'm always going to hold this against you, Scott, for shooting Hannah's first rooster.
Oh,
But I will say, when I took my son out, Weston, for his first hunt on the prairie of North Dakota, I wanted to hunt with him. And in South Dakota, they have to be over a certain age before you can
Mhm.
hunt with them. Otherwise, you walk alongside them. And so in North Dakota, I could hunt with them. And the reason I wanted to do that is, buddy, we are in this together. which is how hunting generally is. Now that you got your bird, now you're just one of the team. Now you're just
Love
one of the
it.
hunters out there, right? And he's rightfully so will take shots and drop your bird and then fist pump, and that's what I eventually get
I
to
will
with
still
my
give
kids
him
too.
crap.
But what I was worried about is just a lot of pressure. There's a camera right there, and if it was all him, you missed that one, buddy. What'd you do there?
Yeah, right.
And you don't want to just focus on it, because even how many years have you and I been hunting, Scott? A lot. And if you start thinking about your shot, that's not good.
Right.
You don't want to think about it. You just want to be. And was I behind it? Yeah, probably. Most of the time, probably behind it. If you're really analyzing it, most of the time we're probably behind it. But when you start thinking about it, it gets in your head. You start missing more often versus just being out there. Here comes a bird. Take the shot. You know what to do. It becomes instinctual. You shoulder it. Make sure you're lining it up. So,
so next year,
but
Bill and Trav.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think dove hunting would be cool too, because I also talked to Bill about that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
What about duck hunting? Chakalaka, is that what that one was called?
Yeah, that a chakalaka.
Isn't
they're
that the
down in
one
South
Texas?
Texas.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago or last week.
So yeah, I feel
I think
like
you'd like duck hunting.
the next.
Yeah.
So there's different phases that a hunter goes through.
Yeah.
You've experienced it now. You're like, you got a taste for it. So then all of a sudden, now when are we going again, Dad? When are we going again? Dad's gonna be like, just take Millie, right? Eventually get to that point, maybe, or when she has puppies, maybe you get one of those
Yeah.
puppies,
Maybe.
and then all of a sudden you get to this personal level of being in this field with it's your dog, and you're gonna go through all kinds of struggles there too. But the rewards keep getting sweeter and sweeter as you go along too. Then all of a sudden it's about limits. For some hunters, then it's about what else can I experience? What's over the next hill? Maybe further west. Maybe the mountains, different prairies, different bobwhites.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a rough grouse. I don't know. To me, that's the lure of all of the hunts. And as a upland hunter, you get to cover so much ground, and you're always seeing what's over the next hill, and you're always moving generally. So, I mean, there's just a lot of exciting times up ahead for you. I think it's
I'm
really
excited.
cool. Yeah.
I'm
Next,
hooked.
there it is.
That's what you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear.
Do you think Al has it in him?
No.
I want to go so bad. My roommate is a pheasant hunter too, and he hunts everything. But he was like, if you want to go hunting, you have to go pheasant hunting, because then you don't just sit in a blind or sit in a tree stand. You actually move and go do things. So
You'd probably be
gun
walking
safety
behind
out.
him.
I do have
and-
to. I do have to do that. Her and I actually started at the same time, and then I just stopped doing it. And she.
See, that's
And I took a notebook full of
there's
notes.
a little bit difference between
Oh,
Well, I
the
had lots of- I had
the
to-
female
I had-
motivation and the male motivation.
Well, I was
Would
so
you stop
worried-
and play Mario Kart or something?
No, I was so worried about Travis being happy that his show sounded good.
Oh.
And you were skipping through everything, and then I'm taking in-depth
Yeah,
notes.
she had a full notebook like we were still in college.
Did you really?
She told,
Yeah.
So then, what are some like hurdles maybe? Because it's been so long since I've done this, right? It's just I grew up with this unexplainable desire, drive to want to hunt. Everything that I did was about being outside, hunting, fishing, and so that's all I knew. But I sometimes don't think like somebody who hasn't been in it their whole life, and so I know that I can be really helpful, but I can also kind of like push people away. I took my brother-in-law out one time, and then a couple months later, he's like, yeah, I didn't really enjoy that. You were kind of like pushy here and this way. And I was like, huh, okay. So I learned a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Time for
Yeah.
your dad to learn a little bit.
Well, for me,
What
though,
did he do wrong?
What
that
did
he
he
could
do
have done
wrong?
better?
well, it's not that you did anything wrong. The reason why I took so many notes was because, like, a gun can be a scary thing. And so I wanted to be as safe as possible and to feel comfortable with a gun in my hand. And so that is why I took so many notes, because like I wanted to be the safest hunter that I could possibly be. Whereas some other people are like, oh, I just want to get it done. I want to start hunting, where I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm safe and that I don't hurt someone or a dog or something. And so
And that's admirable.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
That's why
and
it
when my
took me
wife and
a
I
long
went,
time.
she was it sounds like she would be saying almost the exact same
Yeah.
thing, because she literally was saying, "Is that the right one? Is that, and I didn't feel comfortable. It didn't get up that high. And so I just didn't feel comfortable." And I was like,
Mhm.
that's the right thing. You'll know when you're able to take that shot. You'll have another shot if you just wait,
Yeah.
and you'll know it's the right one. And it's so important. It is so important to have that mindset. And I mean, props to you for making sure that you're taking those notes.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that I hope other people do, because that is the reason why my brother-in-law was like, I didn't really enjoy it that much. And I was like, I know, but you don't get to take that shot back. And so yes, I am over the top about gun safety, because it is the number one most important thing that we are doing out there. And I can't be anything but that.
Well, and I think that's why you end up taking all the notes
Oh,
too,
for sure.
is because that's how I am as well. And even when we're just shooting, it's safety on, get to the mark, and then, blah,
Where
blah,
am I
blah.
aiming? Is there any,
Yes,
like,
right.
Mhm.
Muzzle control, etc. And they do make it easier now, or I shouldn't say now, but it's different than when I obviously took gun safety in a classroom. It's all online. And so to go through the process and then, take the time Hannah did to take notes.
Well, we should say for Minnesota.
For Minnesota, correct.
Yeah.
Because people listening are,
it could be different in different state, but in
check your
Minnesota.
state. Yep.
And in Minnesota, you used to have a field day, meaning you'd go to the field and you'd have to demonstrate that you
Mhm.
understood the concepts with the gun in the field with an instructor there. You don't have to do the field day anymore either.
Yeah, it's
Serious?
optional.
Mm.
It's on. Well,
Yeah.
and you could do it online.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yep.
virtual field day.
I
You
did not
can
know
if
that.
you want, but you don't have to.
I loved field day. I remember it. Scott, what's the highlight of your hunting season?
Well, obviously having Hannah
Yeah.
get her bird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Besides that, answer the same question
You
that I asked
shooting
our
my bird?
listeners. Do you have a moment besides Hannah getting her bird, besides you stealing one of her birds, those two things aside, did you have anything
Yeah.
from this hunting season that'll stand out to you?
Yeah, and I think I talked about it in the podcast I did with Hannah. For me, not knowing if the girls would ever choose to carry a gun, and Hannah did, was number one. But then seeing Hannah connect with Millie in the field, and when I actually was smart enough to put my gun away, was the best. And because I could see the light bulb going off in Hannah about this connection I've tried to describe with the girls, even when they've seen it in the field with me and the dog. It's different when it's you
Mhm.
and the dog, and watching her with Millie, understand Millie, respond to Millie, Millie respond to her. That was really neat, because that's a big reason why I wanted the girls always to try hunting with me was, yes, being outside, yes, experiencing wild things, wild places, sunrise, sunset. But, we've talked about this over and over in the podcast, but I'll say it again. For us, our dogs are our family pets. They're spoiled rotten. Millie's in here now. She comes to work every day. But they are a different animal in the field. And some people believe they can't switch on and off. I know you see it all the time with Daisy. They can switch it on and off.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to make sure they saw the switch when it was on.
Yeah.
And they see it when I train and things like that. But hunting is different. And the training is just bringing out that talent and skill in the dog, and then making sure that they're responsive to you in the field, and then some. But what is in them, what is bred into them, that's, especially in the upland side, is what you see when their eyes do this, or when that point,
Yeah. So
when Millie
cool.
did that point for you, and that's I'll come home from hunting. How was your hunt? Oh, it's great. Millie pointed 3 birds. Oh, great. Pass the ketchup. But when now that Hannah has seen that, she gets it.
Yeah.
And that for me was the best. There's a lot of great moments, with friends, and you and I have talked about this alone on the podcast. We really, right now, knock on wood, and hope it continues on, are in a golden age of upland hunting. To have the bird numbers that we have right now,
Yep.
for pheasants, you experienced with the quail this year, chuckers. It was quote unquote, a down year for grouse, probably at least in North Dakota.
Rough grouse, but
Prairie, sharp-tail
blue
in
grouse was
it was But
way
even
up.
in that, in North Dakota, it was still a good year, and so we're very lucky that this is happening now, and we as hunters should appreciate it and keep participating in these wildlife organizations that help us maintain this, and introduce somebody new to it, because this is the time they can get hooked. Because I don't know if Hannah would be as hooked as she is now
If it was that cold and there was no birds.
Oh yeah.
That goes back to this is an entire podcast here, but I just think, there's a lot of effort being put into recruiting hunters and, field days and things like that. But if there's nothing on the landscape when they go out to do it for real, I don't think we keep that many people out there. And so our focus and our state agencies and our government agencies that are spending money to recruit hunters, I mean, I don't have a solution. All I can say is if there's opportunities available for people and there's wild game there, that really can bring a lot of people back and keep them hunting. And you just experienced it.
Totally.
You saw what that is like. And it's powerful to see it. Whether it's a pheasant flushing, a grouse, a turkey gobbling and strutting in, ducks cupped into the decoys. When the animals, the birds, the wildlife is there, I mean, you can't help but want more.
And and that's the point. You want more, so hopefully it motivates you to keep buying licenses, buying ammunition, maybe support a
coming
DU,
to our
PF
Pheasants Forever banquet that you are coming to. We got the email today, and it's been heckling. Ben Bredigan and I are co-emceeing.
I'm bringing my tomatoes. I'm bringing my.
I'm in. I'll throw one.
You got to come now.
I know.
Absolutely. We're recruiting people.
Maybe I
so
could get a
our
free gun.
Carver County, Minnesota chapter that I'm a part of, and Ben and I,
as am I. I'm a member there too.
So there we go. Yeah. So last year you won a bunch of guns because I wasn't the MC. Because if I was MC and I saw your name on it,
it's just a number, baby. I'm just a number.
But I know how to figure out your number, and I am going to put it back in the bucket so somebody else can win.
See, that's why this trivia contest is rigged.
The trivia is not rigged. That I promise you. But you ain't taking home 3 guns this year, buddy.
What if the number was mine?
Well, that'd be different.
He would feel real bad.
No, I wouldn't. I
won a gun, I gave it to a new hunter. Is there something wrong with that, Travis? No, that's a beautiful thing.
That's admirable. I'll give you that. Good for you. All right, Big Al, did we accomplish a video episode to go with the audio?
You guys looked phenomenal.
Oh.
So, and my switching was obviously awesome. But
are you live editing this?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's very talented, Big Al.
What doesn't he do?
Our employee of the month for 5 months running is very talented.
There's a reason that he's Scott's favorite. And then obviously...
Well, look at his hat, too.
I know.
Did you show off your hat to
it's a little sweaty, though.
Yeah.
So I need to,
Are we making you sweat over here?
Yeah.
Maybe we need
I was sweating trying to run and set this
fans.
up. Scott had a long meeting, so Travis and I were scrambling.
Long? It was 45 minutes.
All right.
All right,
We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.